Welcome to the Fresh Patch Podcast, where we talk about everything from dog training to potty talk. It's time to save your rugs and get real. This episode is brought to you by Fresh Patch, featured on Shark Tank, Oprah, and The Today Show. And here are your hosts, Drew and Gabe.
Welcome, everybody, to the Potty Talk Podcast presented by Fresh Patch. My name is Drew with my lovely co-host, Gabe, over there on the other side. And we have an awesome guest today on the podcast. If you wouldn't mind introducing yourself to the people.
Yeah, my name is Sara Munro.
Sara Munro. And What do you specialize in, Sara?
I'm a certified professional dog trainer, and I work with dogs and puppies and their people.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yes. No. Awesome. And you've already given me some tips on Mr. Oakley down there, so I really appreciate it,
You're
even
welcome.
though he's going right back at it right now. But that's okay. We're going to get it figured out by the end of the day, right?
Yeah, that's definitely like a big reason why we were excited to have you on today, is because we have all these office dogs and they have their little crazy dynamics. So it's been really cool kind of like giving you the walkthrough and getting some insight on you know, why they act the way that they do. So
yeah, a little bits and pieces.
Yeah.
Yep. Cool. And then just for everybody watching or listening, go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, and then give @FreshPatch a follow on all socials, and check out freshpatch.com as well. Check out Sarah's. You have socials, right? Do you want to?
I am a social media phobe.
Yeah.
Confessions of a social media phobe.
Yes.
I'm in process.
There we go.
Yes.
Perfect.
In painful process.
Yeah, it's a big learning curve, honestly, and I don't blame you at all. Honestly.
Yeah.
Social media is a beast.
But I do have a website.
There we go.
Which is saramunrodogtraining.com.
Oh yeah.
Perfect. So go check out her website if you are interested, and sit back, relax, take a listen. We're going to go through some questions and get to know you and have the audience get to know you and stuff. So
Absolutely. And she is local to Santa Barbara. So for those people who have reactive dogs in Santa Barbara, great resource to have here. So check out her website.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. So let's just dive into some questions, get to know you. And Gabe, you want to start it off?
Yeah, absolutely. So let's kind of start off with your story. Like, we were talking earlier, and you mentioned that you actually were originally a cat person. So tell us a little bit about yourself, and then like how you got into dog training.
Okay. That's funny. I was a cat person long ago in a previous life, and I still love cats. And dogs came into my life a little bit later. I did have a dog as a child, but as an adult, a dog wandered into my backyard while I was living in the desert.
Oh, wow.
And she was exactly the dog I had imagined. And I hadn't, like, up to that time, actually, I was barely able to keep plants alive. So, and I was traveling a lot for work, so I didn't have an animal. And this dog showed up, and I walked into the backyard to see her because my neighbor said, there's a dog in your yard. And she just immediately put her forehead on my thigh.
Oh.
Yeah, it was.
Yep.
Typical.
That was the moment. And she put it also at one point, she put her paw on my foot. And it took me a little while to decide to keep her, but I kept her, and she was a phenomenal being, and was really important, I think, in my just development as a human.
Yeah, definitely.
Honestly.
Mm-hmm. That's cool. What kind of dog was it?
She was a complete mystery mix, but she was
nice.
She was about 40 pounds, kind of white cream color, ears straight up, curly tail.
Aww.
And she looked like my neighbor's dog, who was a Malamute, white Malamute. And I used to go running in the desert with this dog. His dog's name was Daisy, and I was sitting on the ground at one point with Daisy tying my shoe, and she had come run over and she sat next to me, and I was like, oh my gosh, we have a relationship. You know, there was that moment I realized that she and I had a thing.
Yeah.
We were connected. Mm-hmm. And so I imagine just what Hazel, the dog that showed up in my yard, looked very much like Daisy. I had just a smaller version and with less hair. So, then Hazel actually played into why I became a trainer. I was actually in transition phase, And I had started walking dogs, so I was doing off-leash pack walks with lots of dogs.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, it was fun. It was
Yeah.
super interesting. Had a lot of questions about what these dogs were up to. And Hazel died and broke my heart. She had an aggressive hemangiosarcoma and was gone in 3 weeks. And while that was happening, I was studying chemistry and statistics and animal behavior and preparing to apply to graduate school somewhere, and I just shifted. And I thought, I really want to do something that I love. And I love dogs, and it felt heart connected.
Yeah.
And we have movement here. Everybody is shifting around because Adriana brought the treats out.
The treat
And if
lady
you could
is
only
here.
see what was happening over on that side of the room right now.
Some angles might have dog butts.
Yeah, you might see
Oh,
some dog
okay.
butts there.
Okay.
They are being. It is payday.
Yeah.
It is payday, so
Yes.
they are being paid.
Right.
But that's cool. So you were out in the
Yeah.
desert. So
Yeah.
you were doing these like off leash, like kind of pack.
So
hikes,
I wasn't doing those in the desert. I had
Okay.
come back, and I was
Gotcha.
doing I know that was probably hard to track all of the
No
chronology
worries,
of
no
that.
You're good. You're good.
But I was in Santa Barbara doing these off-leash pack walks at the beach and in a couple of different areas that are great for that sort of thing in Santa Barbara. And I decided I wanted to study dog training. And I had a friend who was a certified applied animal behaviorist. I connected with her, and just to kind of get some information about, like, how do I go forward with this? I learned there were significantly different schools of thought about training. And I chose one, and I decided to go to the Karen Pryor Academy for Training and Behavior. That's a lot of syllables. And study in a 6-month program to study the science of dog training. And that's where I started. And actually, before that, I had taken a behavior class. And yeah, I started my business shortly after finishing the KPA program. That was in January of 2016 that I started my business.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and since then I've done a variety of other programs and have to maintain my credentials with ongoing education and always webinars and conferences. And I'm in a great mentorship group right now with a bunch of other behavior professionals, and it's fascinating. There's just, it's ongoing, always learning.
I was gonna say, it's really interesting to me that, I wonder like how different the training, like the guidelines were like maybe in 2016 as to where they are now. It seems like it would be like shifting a lot. So
one thing that's ongoing is study of dog cognition and behavior, and there are many people studying genetics and studying how dogs think and behave, and so we're always getting new information about dogs.
Yep.
Right? And we also know from a lot of the studies that learning happens when dogs are having fun, when dogs are not stressed, just like humans,
Yep.
right? We're all mammals, right?
Yeah.
When we're a little freaked out, we don't learn. And we know that dogs work for they work for stuff. They do what works.
Yeah.
And so whatever that is. So a little while ago, Oliver jumped up here on the sofa, and that was positively reinforcing to him because this is a comfy place.
Yeah.
So he does that again because that works for him.
Gotcha.
So we know that, and we've known that for a while.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
That's really cool.
Yeah. Going back into training and stuff, and when people are looking for training, what should they look for when they're hiring a dog trainer?
That's a great question. A transparent trainer. It'd be great to get on the phone with a trainer and just ask them, like, what are the methods? What are their philosophies? Ask them, like, so what happens to my dog if my dog gets it wrong, for example?
Yeah.
Right? And then ask the trainer what kind of education they have, conferences they go to. What methods and equipment do they use? I would recommend force-free, reward-based trainer where...
Oakley's turn.
It's a revolving door.
Yeah.
Hey, buddy.
Good boy.
Yeah. So, and I think it's important that a trainer would allow you to observe them at work.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely. Like obviously, like with Fresh Patch, like we our people who buy Fresh Patch, they have dogs of all ages, but a big clientele of ours would be people like potty training their dogs.
Right.
So, like, in your opinion, is it better to start with the trainer at that kind of stage, like the potty training stage, or maybe like wait until, you know, they're ready to kind of learn more advanced things or like show behavioral issues or things like that?
Yeah. No, I am a strong proponent of starting training off early. And you can start with a puppy at 8 weeks. And puppies are learning sponges. They are learning constantly. They're learning 24/7. So when they come home, whatever it is that they are doing and they're practicing, they're rehearsing, they're getting better at it. So yeah, you want to start then. And and they learn fast. They learn super fast.
Yeah.
So you can work with a trainer. There's a lot of people doing DIY stuff. Having a trainer, having a positive reinforcement trainer on board at that time is very, very helpful. And you just, treats are super powerful rewards for animals. Right?
Yes.
And understanding though for the puppy, like what particular type of treat, right? Because it matters to the animal. It's not like I think this is a great treat for a dog.
Yeah.
Like if I was a dog, I would love that treat.
Yeah.
But not necessarily. So taking the treats and testing them, figuring out which works best for your dog or for your puppy. And yeah, getting to work immediately on potty training. I think that's one of the first things you want to do because that is one of the things that sends dogs and puppies back to the shelter. And and I think it's great to get in there with the puppies because when adolescence hits, I've been called in with big dogs who are jumping and barking, and they have at their 7 months, they're teenagers, and they have already been now jumping on people for 5 months. So that's a very robust behavior that they've been reinforced positively for over and over again.
Gotcha.
So you can still teach incompatible behaviors to jumping, but it's so much easier to teach a sit and to teach a go to place, relax on your mat, and to do that early.
Absolutely, yeah. And then those are kind of like foundational things too that like, if you train them right in the beginning, it's, hopefully something that they'll carry throughout their entire life is like what they learned at that time.
Yeah, yes. And so there are like relaxing on a mat is a foundational behavior, and it's a really important behavior to teach to, I think, any animal. My dog is 11 and a half. Still, when I put the mat down, whoop, she goes right over and lies on it. So that's great for people who are coming into your house, you're at the coffee shop, etc. You need a place for your dog to be that they feel comfortable, that they, even if you're in an unfamiliar environment, they're like, oh, it's my mat. I know exactly what to do on my mat.
Gotcha.
So that is foundational, and also it's, it's important to train dogs throughout their lives. Just like us, we didn't finish school, when we were 6.
Yeah.
Right. We continued to get some kind of education along the way. And dogs like to train. They like to do what works. They like to be positively reinforced.
For sure. And that's something that I've noticed with Oliver's, like as he's gotten older, like he continues to pick up new habits and, be somewhat receptive to training and new things, and I always found that fascinating.
Well, and it's really important for senior dogs, actually. It helps them cognitively. And I have to say, with my dog, who's now a senior dog, I've gotten a bit lazy in the last few years, and we've been waking up and she's kind of like ready to go, and so we've been doing some training in my little living room, and she's so psyched. She does spins, she'll do a bow. I taught her to do a high kick, and she's like, come on, man, let's go. So, and she had a very strong learning history with that in the very beginning, because she's the dog that I took through school with me.
Okay.
And so I feel like I've kind of, I've been neglecting her a little bit, because she's like, you started training me. I went to school with you when I was little, and now we're not doing it anymore. So yeah, I think that's very important. Also, just on another note, what's also super important for these guys, along with training, like training is not the only piece, is cognitive enrichment and physical activity. Cognitive enrichment are like puzzle toys, scatters, sniffing. Like dogs are natural problem solvers. So throughout their life, we want to give them problems to solve. like I'd like to think we love our animals so much. They come into our household, and it's almost like we just like say, "Here's the remote control, have at it," and and like I'm a big proponent of like tossing the food bowls. Excuse me.
No worries.
Yeah.
A little parched.
Little frog in your throat.
Yeah, a little fur ball in the throat there. So, yeah, I'm a big proponent of giving them things to do and tossing the food bowls. So giving them interactive feeding toys or scatters or snofaris or different things, ways that they can eat. It just burns off a bunch of their energy, and it's pretty easy. And then, of course, physical exercise. And again, back to like how treats are important, like treats for that the dog is motivated by. What motivates the dog? What does this dog want or need to do, per their genetics? Some different dogs need to do different things, and all dogs need to go do the same things, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because some dogs are like hunter dogs and like, different herders. Like,
Our
I
shepherds.
noticed. Yeah, I was going to say, these two dogs, like, they're always herding us places. So, like, they're definitely, like, their shepherd roots are showing there. It's really interesting. I never thought about it like that.
So we might miss. You might, like, get all this great stuff for your dog to do, and then still your dog has all this extra energy because they're not getting that. It's like, what's their Wordle or their spelling bee or their pickleball? Right?
Gotcha.
Right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
And then the other piece is management, and like those are like the three pieces of behavior change and of learning. And management is preventing animals from learning the stuff you don't want them to learn, which is back to your fresh patch. Like when your puppy, you bring your puppy or your rescue dog home, and you want to make sure that they're going to go there, that they're not going to go around the house. So you might create some kind of confinement for them because it's a new place for them, and you're figuring out what their schedule is and when they need to go. And so you would set them up for success and take them out of a confined area and bring them to the patch,
right?
And on leash and wait there and be really boring until they go, and then heavily reinforce that.
Yes. And then the association starts. Like, this is where I potty. Like,
yes. And there's an association, right, to the space, and there's also it works. I get really rewarded for this.
Yeah.
Like, Dad throws a party. And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is actually like I'm so glad you said that, because we have another dog trainer that says the same thing. She's like, throw a party when they go potty on the patch. I want you to throw a party, pretty much, and like reward them, tell them they're a good boy or a good girl, and like really reinforce that is the exact spot. And I like how you mentioned the leash too, and we say that a lot. It's just like, lead them on the leash at first, because this is going to transition into outside potty and stuff, and just getting them familiar with that is very, very key. So thank you for all that information. And it kind of goes on to our next question a little bit, but telling us about your style of dog training and how you implement these things with your...
I actually kind of have been talking about
that.
Yeah, exactly. I was thinking. I was like, okay.
Yeah, so it's critical to set dogs up for success. So the first thing is choosing an environment where they can perform what I'm teaching them successfully and repeat it. So if I'm training, just starting with a dog, I start at home. I start where they feel safe and comfortable, and where I know that there's less distraction. And then I may have to tweak the environment a little bit. Sometimes the puppy comes out of the confinement area and it starts like, oh, check it out. And they want to, right? It's like, okay, we got to take all the stuff out of confinement, put you back in confinement, and now we're going to work and work with you. And so we set the animal up for success so that we can reinforce, because it is reinforcement that drives the behavior in the future, right? So if I can't reinforce, then I'm not. Dog isn't getting feedback. Right? Not getting information. So I want to create an environment where they can be successful, and then move out from there in small steps as the dog is successful. So one of the things that's really important to me is that I work at the dog's level. So I'm watching the dog's body language. I'm watching levels of arousal and capacity to focus, and we work there so that, again, we can be successful. So I can reinforce, and then we can take the next step.
It's really interesting you bring that up, like that last part, because it makes me think of something with Oliver. It's funny. I feel like we keep bringing up our...
Oh, yeah.
Of course we do.
Case scenarios.
So a problem that we sometimes have with him is he loves coming to work. He gets super excited about it. And he also hates, he has a little bit of separation anxiety as well.
Ah.
So a problem with him is that you have to like time his feeding right. So I usually I'll try to feed him before I get into the shower, because if I wait too long to feed him, then he gets really excited and aroused and like will not. I'm like, dude, like, please, I want to take you, but you got to eat your breakfast. And so it kind of like
eat.
Yeah, when he's excited like that, he doesn't like to. So it's like it's an interesting thing.
Yeah, so that's a tell. When a dog who can typically eat isn't eating, you know that they're bumping up against their emotional threshold. They're in stress zone. It's like when it's the nervous system. It's a sympathetic nervous system response.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
so that's
definitely.
like a little more of the stress chemicals are floating around in the body.
Gotcha.
And we've all experienced that, right? When you get nervous, you do not want to eat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I struggle with that all the time.
That
yeah.
is
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. So that,
Seriously.
yeah.
Do
So
you do
that,
human training too?
Yeah.
I used to be a teacher.
Oh,
There you go. So, partially, yes.
A big thing I feel like in the dog training world these days is like there's kind of the old school thought process of like the Caesar Milans and that kind of style of training, but it seems the new and emerging kind of style is this like positive reinforcement. I saw on your website that that's something that you really do with dogs.
Yeah, I do call that out.
So like given that let's say you're potty training them and they have an accident, like with that situation, like how should you approach that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the dog is having a quote unquote mistake. Well, maybe we could talk about what a mistake is too. I
Right.
mean,
Yeah,
right?
definitely.
And whose mistake it actually is.
Yep.
But so you just want to interrupt that. You might say something not to scare the dog, but maybe you might say outside. Then they might stop. If they're little, you can swoop them up. Otherwise, you can maybe take them out lure them with a treat and bring them out to your designated potty area. If it's the fresh patch, bring them there. If it's outside, bring them there. Bring them to the place you want them to go and let them finish going, and reward at that place. So sometimes we freak out, right? And we scream and we terrify the dog. Sometimes we also punish, some people might yell at the dog or rub the dog's nose in it. And what that will do is basically teach the dog not to go in front of you, right? So now the dog is choosing behind the chair because they just got scared.
Yeah.
That was just like harm to the human-animal bond.
Definitely.
That makes
Right?
so much sense.
And
yeah.
how could they know exactly why you're to
They're just going to the
dog?
bathroom.
Yeah.
exactly.
They're just relieving
so
themselves
interesting.
like we all do,
Yeah,
so-
right. Gotta go, man.
What's wrong with that? Like,
Yeah, and so that's why identifying a location, bringing them consistently, anticipating when they have to go so that you can reinforce them when you get there, and then rewarding them and setting them up for success is going to end run all of that stuff. And anticipate that up to a year, at least for young dogs, up to a year there could still be, something happening in the house that you didn't want to have happen. So you have to
Got it.
supervise.
yeah.
I think potty training can be really simple.
Yeah.
If you supervise, if dog is in confinement, and when I say confinement, I don't mean like doggy jail.
Yeah.
I mean like playpen.
Yeah. Supervision.
Think Disneyland for dogs.
Yeah.
All the good stuff in there where they're like hanging out and chewing and biting and finding treats. And then when they're out, they're heavily supervised. And when you go outside with them, you want to make sure you're supervising so that you can catch them getting it right. And you have about a half a second to do that.
Yeah.
Right? So if you wait till your dog runs outside and comes charging up to the porch steps and comes inside and you treat them there, they're like, that was kind of maybe you were rewarding some sort of a recall.
Yeah,
Not
that's what I was
going
gonna ask. Them
outside.
going up the steps or something.
Yeah.
That's what they think they're getting
funny.
rewarded for.
Yeah.
Another Oliver anecdote there. Like he will sometimes like trap himself places,
Oh,
and like he's fine. Like
he gets stuck?
not that he gets
quote
stuck,
unquote stuck.
and he's
He's
like,
pretending to
like,
be
come
stuck.
help me, and then we're like, dude,
What?
okay, come on, and we get him out, and then he goes straight to the treats. Like I did something good. Like give me, So that might be where the disconnect is, like what you were just describing.
Well, dogs, this is operant conditioning. Dogs do what works. That's right. So whatever works for them is what they're going to do.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
If like jumping on the counter and grabbing that chocolate cupcake works, and if it worked once, you can bet they
That's
will go
Oakley.
back and do it again.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? So back to like also my training philosophy here is like, if you don't want your dog on the counter surfing, then that's a place where you might put a baby gate up or do something to keep dogs out of that area, because they will learn that and they will do it, and they may come back a year later. They may keep checking.
Yeah.
Because the payoff was so good the first time.
Yep.
Oakley,
That's this guy.
he's stolen a few things off my desk.
Yeah.
Oh.
He's desk height. If he's desk
Yeah.
height, if it's on the edge,
Fair game.
he's grabbing it.
He's so relaxed.
I know. He's really feeling good now. I know. Sweet baby. Look at him
He's a big polar bear.
in his dreams.
Right?
All his German Shepherd dreams.
Yep.
He just gave a little
Yeah.
teeny toe stretch there.
Oh, there it is. There it is. Now we're
He's like,
fully
they're
relaxed.
talking about me.
Yeah.
That's
great.
great. That's great. And then, as we talk about the potty training side of things and your training, how do you see Fresh Patch aligning with your style of dog training, and what scenarios would you recommend Fresh Patch?
Yeah. Fresh Patch solves a potential large problem for people. And it can be, I could see it especially in places where people don't have yards and can't get outside with their dog. I see it in any place. If it's super cold, if it's a dark night and your animal's sick, or if you're sick, if you're in an apartment, and having something nearby where your dog can go and you can train to the Fresh Patch. That's how I see that as being very useful. A lot of the people I work with have space to get their dogs out with relative ease.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? So, that's it. I see it as a tool to assist potty training in places where it's not easy to do that.
Yeah, definitely. Apartments, like you said, colder cities. I know we get a lot of feedback too. Women don't feel comfortable going out at night in big cities and stuff, so that's where they use it too. Living in California, for all you listeners, I'm sure you know, we have coyotes. That's another piece of feedback we get. That's why people get the Fresh Patch. Even they're like, I have a yard, but I don't want to let my dog out in that yard at night because of the coyotes and such. But, and then focusing on like the puppy side of things, obviously, great tool, no matter what your living situation is. Like,
or if you're bringing a rescue dog home,
yes,
it could be very helpful.
Yeah, and that's why we work with a lot of rescues and offer the Fresh Patch for the dogs that are up for adoption, and then we always encourage, it's like, hey, they've been on the Fresh Patch, as long as they've been here, like easy transition to just take that home with you, start ordering Fresh Patch on your own, because they're familiar with it, and it's just going to help you out as being a rescue.
Do you have shelters who are providing these for their dogs in kennels?
Yeah.
Currently?
Yeah, mainly on the rescue side, not like
more on the rescue than the shelter.
yeah, than the shelter
That
side,
would-
like the county shelters and stuff.
That'd
But
be expensive and a lot of maintenance for the
yeah, because they have a
people
lot
there.
of kennels and stuff
Yeah.
versus like the more private ones and stuff that are a little more like you've probably heard of Paw Works in Thousand Oaks. Mainly in LA, we work with Pup Culture Rescue, Vanderpump Dogs, and they're either in the kennels or they're in the dog run area or they're strictly for the puppies. Like I know Eastwood Ranch Foundation, they just have them in like a rock garden, and like they let the puppies that aren't fully vaccinated go on that as well. That is another thing too.
Yeah,
It's like,
this could be great for that. And so that's really interesting because we look at dogs through different lenses, right? The veterinarian is looking at the dog through the medical lens. The trainer or the behavioral consultant is looking at the dog through a different lens. And what we know about puppies is that, and dogs through puppyhood, that the window of socialization is between 8 to 12 weeks. And that is a critical period for animals to experience the world feeling safe.
okay.
Right? To see things, to experience different surfaces, to be in different environments, to see, novel items any kind of like, wheelchairs and crutches and umbrellas and bicycles,
Vacuums.
all these things,
Pool
different
guys.
people,
Pool guys, vacuums, mailmen.
yeah, costumes,
Yeah.
other animals. And what's interesting about the recommendations is that you not take your puppies out until they're fully vaccinated, which often doesn't happen until 16 months.
Gotcha.
So what's really important is to figure out how to balance those things. Is like, how do you take your puppy out safely, create exposures to all of the things that they need to see, with them emotionally comfortable, and so they don't have to have big experiences with people. They don't have to go out and greet people. They don't have to meet all the dogs, but they do need some exposure. So that's a really important developmental phase for animals.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and you can overdo socialization as well as underdoing it.
Gotcha.
Again, that's where you go at the dog's pace.
Yeah, for
right?
sure.
And if the dog is backing away, backing away, then you want to kind of move out of that situation.
Yeah, I love how detailed your insights are with, like 8 to 12 weeks. Like, I don't think I've ever heard that. Like, there's certain time periods where you need to do certain things in the training phase for them to really take onto it and stuff. And that's very interesting.
It can also be a little bit longer than 12 weeks, give or take,
Okay.
But basically that's in all the literature, that's
it's really cool. I mean, like, just a lot of these kinds of insights that you're providing seem very like scientific / like animal psychology based, which is a really cool kind of take. You don't really hear much of that.
Well, so that's what reward-based force-free training is
He's feeling good.
based in evidence, and there's animal learning science, and then we also have something called ethology, which is about adaptation and natural behaviors.
Yeah.
But
is that related to like ethos of like
ethology
psychology?
is it's really like what is adaptive for animals? Why do animals do certain things based on what is effective for them, what works for them out in the environment to survive?
Gotcha.
Right.
Very cool.
And then behavioral science is really about like operant and classical conditioning and desensitization and how those things work. And positive reinforcement is the quadrant of operant conditioning, which has positive and negative reinforcement and positive and negative punishment. So like I land predominantly in positive reinforcement. Every once in a while, I may walk away from a dog whose puppy is jumping on me. A dog is jumping on me. That's not positive reinforcement, right? But it's removing my attention from something. So, and the science of like also training and knowing when to ask for a behavior and when to use acoustic marker to mark a behavior to tell a dog that the thing that they're doing at that particular moment is earning them the reward, because then dogs will begin to work for that marker signal, which is what a click is.
Gotcha.
Right?
Okay.
Which you've probably heard of. A
Like
click.
clicker training.
Yeah, so like a click, it means a treat is coming. So it's a Pavlovian conditioning, right? Classical conditioning, click means treat. Click treat, so you click treat, you click treat, you click treat, and then there's a moment where you see the dog go, where's the click, where's my treat?
Yep.
Right?
And I feel like that goes back to what you're saying, that half second that you were mentioning before, where you need to reward them. Like,
exactly. Yeah.
Makes
So
sense,
so that clicker becomes a bridging stimulus.
Gotcha.
So it bridges the moment the dog does the thing and you click it, and then you get the treat. Sorry, it bridges the moment you click to the time you can get the treat to them.
Gotcha.
Right? If the dog is over there, I can't get the treat to them.
Yep.
But if I say click, or if I click or say yes, they're
So
like, cool. Where's my treat? I
Yep.
got it.
It's
Right?
ready for me. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it like
Very
extends that
interesting.
window a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Hey, wow.
Right?
I
And they
love that.
literally will begin to like, what do I need to do to get her to click?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? And
I haven't heard that click in a while. What am I doing wrong?
Oh,
Like,
it's so funny.
And then what's also super cool about that is that dogs have agency. So now the dog gets to make the choices. So the dog is like, what do I need to do to get my human Pez dispenser to distribute food? And so this is the way also, like I see, is that, dogs wouldn't have created this kind of living situation, I don't think. And the world's gotten much busier. I mean, I remember when I was a kid, the dogs would roam the neighborhood, and dogs would come over the house, and my dad had biscuits and would give them to the other neighbor dogs. That doesn't, at least, where we live, that doesn't happen. And so dogs have to kind of conform to our life, and it's not really always the greatest thing for them to conform to, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we're humans and we're a little crazy, I think, sometimes, and
Absolutely.
but we're in charge, so they have to kind of figure out how to live together. So if we have ways to teach them to do the stuff that we need them to do that benefits them, that's fun, then they're like, cool, and then they're like, oh, there's this point in training where you can just see the dog's like, oh, I got this human wrapped around my little blah, because I'm lying down, I'm going to my mat, and she's giving me a treat. And so they're having fun. There's no stress in the training. They're not afraid of something that's going to happen to them. So if they don't know why this thing is happening, there's some kind of external stimuli coming at them this way. They're like, oh, I do this and I get that, and it works for them.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that's so
Yeah.
That's
cool.
amazing. I love that so
Yeah.
much. And I wanted to go off script for a second.
Yeah.
Because I actually got this question from one of our reps for Meta. I had a call with her this morning and told her that we're doing a podcast and stuff. And so Alexa, if you're listening, this one's for you. She has her dog, 2 chocolate labs, right? I think they're younger, about 2 years old and stuff. But so she has hers, and then her roommate has one as well. And she's like, one has a problem, right? One was stealing socks, the other one wasn't. Now all of a sudden, that one who wasn't stealing socks is stealing socks, and the one who was originally stealing socks isn't anymore. And then she's like, one was a jumper, no longer a jumper. Now the other one's a jumper who never used to be a jumper. So they keep flip-flopping their habits or their, things. So she was like, they're mistakes. Yeah, exactly. So she was like, I don't know how to correct them, and or like, are they just like ganging up on us and figuring out like, oh, you did that, I can do it too. Like, so wanted to.
Do you want me to solve this problem?
I mean, you don't have to fully solve the problem, but I was like, I bet you she'd have more insight than me on how to deal with this situation. So.
So about the socks.
Yes.
The socks are kind of an easy thing to comment on.
Okay.
Management.
Yeah.
Put your socks away. Okay.
Fair enough.
That's a good point. That's a really good point.
Alexa, put your socks away.
Yeah, so that's management.
Okay.
Like there are when animals come into our household, everything's a chew toy, right? So if we leave initially we'd leave remote controls out, and we leave shoes out and glasses and the things that we care about, right? They're going to put them out in their mouths because that's how they discover the world. That's how they experience the world. It's going in the mouth, and they're going to, that's a very large possibility. So if there's something that you care about, protect it. I mean, certainly there might be a point. 2 years old is not social. These dogs are probably not fully mature.
Yeah.
Social maturity happens between 2 and 3. So anyway, the sock thing I think is pretty straightforward.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Right? Regardless of what dog is in your space and what, you never know when they're going to start doing stuff because behavior is dynamic. And so then you have jumping was the other issue?
Yeah, and I think her main point too is that they switched now. Like their habits are now the other dog's habits, and like the other one just completely stopped jumping, but now this one's jumping, and like yeah.
So just out of curiosity, do you know are these siblings? Are they the same age?
I think they're the same age, but I don't know if they're siblings, like same litter. But I know they're both chocolate labs. And I know the chocolates. It's the chocolates. They're always the
My
wild
favorites.
ones.
We need to look at what's happening for each dog individually, and then we need to find out why the dog is jumping. I think if you're wanting to resolve the behavior, the questions to ask that are more helpful to answer are like, what's the function of the behavior? What does the dog get for jumping? When does the dog jump? Is it when people are coming home? And what do we do to train an alternative behavior to jumping? So like, what does she want the dog to do instead of jump? Go to a mat and lie down. Let's train that.
Gotcha.
And let's set up the environment so we can get that successfully. And if the dogs are super excited and jumping out of excitement, then maybe we need to do something different at the door so the jumping isn't happening. Because dogs can't learn to go relax on a mat if they're still practicing jumping.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
It makes total sense.
Yeah.
Alexa, if you're watching, I think a great place to start, maybe putting away the socks.
Yeah,
And then
putting
we
away
can-
the socks,
Alexa.
get a clicker
Sorry,
maybe.
Alexa.
Yeah. Get a clicker maybe.
Well, another thing I would just say is that multi-dog households, especially with 2 young dogs, can be really challenging.
Yeah. No.
Right, because what often happens is they connect with each other and they refer to each other, they
Yeah.
orient to each other. So you have to train them both individually and build relationships with each individual dog. So those dogs are, referring to and orienting to you.
Gotcha.
But otherwise, they're like, hey, it's much more fun to play with my other 2-year-old buddy.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly. Yeah, I think that's the best way for her scenario.
Yeah.
It's like they a little more
Two-
training, and then they're starting to gang up with each other. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, we're creating our own pack
2
to
adolescent.
go against as you said, the human Pez dispensers. I love that reference. It's so
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
But okay, cool. I appreciate the help on that.
Can I just add one other thing?
Yes.
Too, because I know there's one of the questions comes up around using food and human Pez dispensers is that we don't always use food. We use food to install behavior and generalize it and go through the phases of learning. And then we can start to go to a different type of reinforcement schedule where we're not using a food all the time, or we're using life rewards, right? And I still think, we need to pay dogs for doing stuff that we want them to do. I mean, we don't go to work for free.
No.
You guys don't come here and won't come here if
Yeah.
you didn't like your job and we're getting a paycheck.
Yeah. No,
Right?
yeah.
So we're asking, so having rewards consistently through a dog's life helps maintain the behaviors that you've already taught.
Beautiful. Awesome. Yeah. No, that's our joke too here. It's like got to give them payment when we need photos of the dogs or we need them to be in a TikTok or something.
They don't work for free.
They do not work for free. They do not. Cool. Yeah.
Awesome. So we got one more question.
Okay.
For you. This is an interesting one.
No.
If you were to, come across a dog on the street, are you able to kind of tell initially their behavioral patterns, or do you need more time to kind of study them and have full access to their life to fully understand?
So if I see a dog standing on the street, the only thing I know is what I'm looking at. Is the data points that I can observe at that moment, and that is the dog's body language. And if I don't even know the dog, I don't necessarily know the way this dog's body language presents. I mean, body language is kind of universal, but it's different in every dog, slightly different. Also, depending upon, do they have, what kind of ears? Do they have floppy ears? Do they have hair in front of their face? Can I see their eyebrows? Can I see stress in their face? What's their tail position? What's their overall body telling me? Is it stiff or is it relaxed and floppy? Observe your dog and know what their different body language means, what emotions correspond with the signals that you're seeing. Oh.
Oliver, what's up, buddy? What does that mean?
That means wrap it up.
He's like, I think that's he's like, I'm done here. Tell her to go home.
Meanwhile, Oakley over here.
So nice about it.
Oakley just gave another stretch, and he's like, "I'm pretty cozy.
guys,
You guys can take your time.
Oakley
this is a
took
good
my
spot.
spot.
Yeah, that's why he's frustrated. It's like,
Yeah.
Oakley's in my spot. I'm over the floor.
But another thing to add to that, in a consultation, we gather a lot of information.
Yeah.
What I missed.
Yeah. Oh, he just gave Oakley a look.
he did?
You're in my spot.
Oh.
Look at.
Here he comes.
Oh. Would you like me to move and you
Yeah.
can sit up here and I can go lie on the floor? Yeah.
He's like, that'd be really cool.
Yeah, I know. I'm so sorry. We're all taking your couch.
Attention.
Oh, I know.
But in a behavioral consult, typically the behavior consultant trainer will dig into what's been going on and ask a lot of questions and gather a lot of information. And then still, when we start training, we see more. We learn a lot more.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. Like you said, the hair over the eyes or something. I could totally see. They can't see. They might be a little more on it. A little anxious because.
Well, also you can't tell what that dog is looking at. You can't tell if they're looking away. You can't tell if they're hard staring. And then other dogs aren't picking up the emotional signals of that dog either.
Yeah.
So the dog with the hair over the eyes is at a little bit of a at a disadvantage.
Okay.
Because other dogs, if that's a totally relaxed dog, the other dogs can't tell. They're not being able to gather that information.
Yeah. Eye contact's a very important
Yeah,
thing, you know?
right.
Yeah. That's very interesting.
And the dogs, of course, are picking up all of the information
Yes.
typically a lot faster than we are.
Yeah. Thank you so much. That wraps up all our
Okay.
questions.
Yes. So much information.
So much information.
Amazing.
Really,
Thank you so
I
much.
mean, I learned a lot.
Yes,
right now. This is
Great.
fantastic, and
This has been fun.
yeah,
Thank you
really
guys so
appreciate
much.
you coming on. And
Yeah.
again, for the viewers, listeners, whether you're watching on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, please hit that subscribe button, give us a like, comment, follow at Fresh Patch on all socials. Check out freshpatch.com, and if you want to shout out your website one more time,
Yeah. Sara Munro Dog Training. May I spell it?
yes, please.
SARA.
Oh.
No H.
There he goes. Oh. Attaboy.
Good job, Oliver. Okay, one more time. One more time for the spelling,
I
Oliver.
need to extract my arm.
Yeah.
SARAMUNRO. Dog Training.
Also, if you guys have any general questions for us, for Sarah, leave them in the comments, and we'll make sure that we pass those along and get those answered for you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Great.
Awesome. Thank you again.
Okay, thank
and
you.
see you guys on the next episode of the Potty Talk Podcast.
Thanks for listening to the Potty Time Podcast, brought to you by Fresh Patch. We hope you enjoyed the show. Give us a like or a follow, or shop all of our real grass supplies at freshpatch.com.